The history of European colonization in North America is haunted by ghost stories. In 1587, the English settlement of Roanoke dissolved into the coastal fog. Entire families, houses, and fortifications disappeared, leaving only the word Croatoan carved into a wooden post. This creates a massive archaeological problem. Finding the remnants of a few dozen people who disappeared into millions of square miles of untouched wilderness 4 centuries ago often leaves historians chasing sparse journal entries and local folklore. When marine archaeologists attempt to search, they scan thousands of acoustic anomalies on the seafloor. Often, these underwater discoveries lead to piles of modern tires, sunken car bodies, or even discarded pizza ovens. But in 1559, a full generation before Roanoke, a much larger target appeared on the horizon. This map outlines the destination for a massive, heavily financed Spanish expedition, led by Don Tristan de Luna. 11 ships and 1,500 colonists arrived on this coast and then vanished. Recent discoveries have shifted these settlements out of the realm of folklore and into the world of forensic science, providing a physical explanation for how an entire city could be erased. The breakthrough began under the waves in Florida's Pensacola Bay. Marine archaeologists systematically gridded the seafloor, searching for remnants of Luna's fleet. To bypass centuries of mud, they use an induction dredge, an underwater vacuum cleaner peeling away the sediment to protect the fragile evidence. Underneath the mud, the preservation was incredible. Divers recovered fragments of thick hemp rope and heavy leather shoe soles, along with large, completely intact ceramic olive jars. They even uncovered the heavy wooden step that once held a ship's massive mast. Among the debris, archaeologists found hundreds of iron spikes scattered across the site. These spikes attached the thick wooden hull planking to the frame, but almost every single one was severely bent or snapped. For solid iron spikes to bend like that, the entire vessel had to be violently lifted up and repeatedly slammed down onto a hard sandbar. The kinetic force literally split the ship open from the inside out. This damage represents the physical signature of a catastrophic, massive hurricane. Identifying a sunken fleet is only half the battle. A hurricane-battered ship could drift for miles before going down, meaning a shipwreck in the bay doesn't automatically reveal where the thousands of survivors settled ashore. For nearly a decade, land surveys turned up absolutely nothing. Then, in 2015, a former archaeology student noticed 16th century ceramic shards in a newly cleared lot, right in the middle of a modern Pensacola neighborhood. Those dirt-caked fragments were brought to the lab for testing. They proved to be an exact chemical and visual match to the specific Spanish olive jars recovered from the shipwrecks out in the bay. Matching the cargo in the bay to the debris in the dirt confirmed the neighborhood sat directly on top of Tristan de Luna's lost city. When that hurricane struck in late summer of 1559, it destroyed the primary food stores. In mere hours, a well-financed colonial operation became a camp of starving refugees. The survivors struggled for 2 years, scrounging for food and mapping the interior. But without their primary supplies, they were eventually forced to pack whatever they could carry and abandon the settlement entirely. The collapse of the Luna expedition created a decades-long power vacuum on the southeastern coast. If that storm had veered just 50 miles in another direction, Spain would have established a permanent stronghold on the Gulf Coast decades before the English arrived. This single hurricane may have been the event that allowed the later settlements at Roanoke and Jamestown to exist at all. These gaps in the early maps reflect the moments where fragile human ambitions were erased by the brutal, indifferent forces of nature.